All right. Well, hello, and welcome everyone to our BG5 Live. Today is October 27th, 2020. This is episode number 76. And today we're going to take a look at the game player. So we're going to take a look at trait 28. We're going to take a look at trait 28 in quality 4. So we're going to take a look at the game player hanging on. All right. So that's what we're going to take a look at today. So before we jump in and get started, let's introduce our panel. My name is Karen Sherwood, and let's introduce Chris. Chris, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, why am I in a different call? This is so weird. Okay. That was strange. Hi. Technology is so fun today. It's holding on.
It's holding on. Exactly.
It's holding on.
Yeah. Thanks, welcome. Chris. Welcome. Yeah. Welcome. And Natalie, welcome.
Yes. Hi. Welcome, everybody. Nice to see you live.
Great to have you here. And Rob.
Hey, everybody from Dallas, Texas. Glad you're here. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, great to have you. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump in and get started. So again, what we're taking a look at is trait 28. We're taking a look at the game player hanging on. So when we take a look at where we are in the context of October, we're nearing October. We're also nearing the end of our journey through duality. So we only have 2 traits left, and then we move into transformation. So purpose fulfilled through transformation. So here we're still in duality. We're taking a look at bonding with others and connecting, just as a quick review of what we've taken a look at. We started with correction. Remember, these are all traits that are part of the survival instinct. I always find it interesting that October, right, where the leaves are starting to fall, what the survival instinct is all about is also about letting go. So we have correction in the 18 that we took a look at. We have depth in the 48. We took a look at intuitive insight in the 57. We took a look at continuity in the 32. We took a look at last week, we took a look at values in the 50. And today we're going to take a look at the 28. We're going to take a look at the game player. And this is the instinct for struggle worth fighting for. So really taking a look at what is worth fighting for, what is worth risking, is the risk worth taking with the game player. And then next week we'll take a look at alertness in the 44. And again, that will wrap up our journey through duality in taking a look at all of the traits of the survival instinct, and then we move into transformation. So just kind of taking a look at what we are looking at today with the 28, I always find it fascinating what's on the other side, right? And if we take a look at the 27 on the other side, one of the things that we'll notice is, remember the last couple of weeks we've had the 44 defined. So we had this, we had the strength of the transmitter. Right now we have the strength of custodianship. And remember, we took a look at 50 last week. And if we take a look at where 50 is now, it's in communication and action. Right. So 50 is, also the enforcer. We talked a lot about it last week. It is about our values. It's, it is about, in a sense, law and order. It also is the root of intelligence as well. So it's interesting that communication has now moved into 50. On the other side is the 27. So we do have this strength of custodianship that is defined right now, really taking a look at, in a sense, one side of the defense is about, birthing and creating new life. This is taking care of the life that is here. Again, we're also, still taking a look at that inner truth and what inner truth is. So inner truth, within this context, of custodianship as well. So I just find it very, very fascinating, as we're kind of moving through this time in the United States. We're a week out from a presidential election. So it's very, very interesting times. So it's very interesting to see what's happening in the background as well. I don't know, Rob or Natalie or Chris, if there's anything else you want to add here.
Well, I'm just wondering if there's a correlation between this trait of the 28 and the fact that we have record early voters right now.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, yeah, just off the chart numbers.
And we do have, whenever we have an election cycle, it's usually kind of in, the week before, it's in this space anyway, every year, because, it's in, it's the beginning of November where the elections take place. So kind of an interesting observation. Yeah, definitely. Anything else for you, Chris or Natalie?
Nothing's popping for me yet.
All right. Well,
although I guess I could say, well, okay, so I just did. That's how it works. Is that going on what Rob was just saying with the 28, and voting, we're having record numbers. If 50 is in communication of what our values are, that's a huge piece of what it is. So we're like the struggles, but it's also about, okay, what are, we're communicating our values with our vote. And so that is, depending on what that is. And that's really what, so just anyway.
Yeah, very, very good observation, Chris. Yeah, very interesting. Again, kind of taking a look at these whole dynamics. So let's take a look at what the 28 is all about. So when we take a look at the 28, it is the game player. It's the transitoriness of power and influence, right? It's also about kind of taking a risk, so we have a picture of a gambler here. So it's the potential of intuition to know in the now whether it is of value to struggle or not. You have the determination and willingness to take risks. So this is all about risk taking as well, to make risks, to make you feel more alive. This is, it's important, however, that you tune into your intuitive awareness to know which struggle will give you a sense of purpose and which struggle will not give you a sense of purpose. And as you move through life, meeting and confronting your fears, you will develop a strong sense of confidence that you have what it takes, right? So this is the fear of death. This is also the fear of not living a life that has some kind of purpose or meaning. And it's ultimately realizing that the challenge is life itself. So it's a really powerful trait. And again, it's individual. So it's this individual empowerment. That's why it's also connected up to that intuitive awareness, ultimately where it gets expressed, is through intuitive awareness in the now. But it's really interesting to take a look at the game player, where we're willing to take risks and where we're not willing to take risks, where we take risks, to make us feel more alive, right? Or we don't take those risks because it's not worth the struggle, right? So that's what we're taking a look at. So what would you guys like to add? What do you see as we take a look at this game player in the 28?
Wow.
Say more, Natalie.
No, I said, wow of the silence. Anyway.
Nobody wants to take the risk to speak.
Yeah.
Exactly. Do any of us have it? I don't have it.
No, none of us have it.
Oh, that's why we're all like, duh.
Yeah.
We're like, we don't know. We have no idea. We're done. Okay, bye-bye. Be nice playing. See y'all later.
I do have the other side.
Right. And so remember, if you have it defined, this is something that you're going to really relate to, connect with, understand. If it's something that you don't have defined, right? So none of us have this defined. So this is something that we can be wise about. This is also something that we have to be careful of during this week, because we may, find ourselves as a game player. We may find ourselves taking risks that we normally don't take. We may find ourselves, looking for purpose, looking for passion, or feeling the lack thereof, of not having purpose or not having passion, right? So it's an interesting thing to look at. And if you do have the trait on the other side, right? So Natalie has the trait on the other side, there's going to be more pressure here to connect with those that may be the game player. Is there anything, Natalie, you see with having the 38 on the other side?
Yeah. nothing really comes, but it feels kind of icky, the game player.
Mm.
Yeah,
Say more about that. Why
yeah,
do you feel it feels icky?
because it's not about playing the game for just for the fun of it. Yeah, it kind of is, but it is truly about, life itself, and not. And I think a lot of it is used in, not the correct way. Huh?
Mm.
So playing games and with life, yeah, and not truly for the struggle for the struggle of purpose, or for the struggle uh, to stand up for those that can stand up for themselves, or really, for the higher interest of um this strength, this.
Right.
Yeah,
And everything is a duality. So there's,
yeah,
always both sides of the coin. And so, you may see a little bit more of the negative side, right? But there is this isn't it isn't by its very nature negative, right? There's a really positive
yeah,
side to it as well.
Right.
But it's all in how we view it, and what we see is showing up.
Yeah, exactly. And I think about, I totally hear what you're saying around that, Natalie, and that there's a lot of illusion and delusion that can happen in the games, right? That people can just play games with people's lives. But this also really, I studied existentialism in school. And so this is the existentialists, right? And that what they said relative to psychology is that all anxiety and all sort of disorders are come out of the fear of death.
Hmm.
So until we come to grips with our fear of death and the fact that we're all going to die, that is the truth, that is the game that we're playing, that is
Mhm.
life. um, Even if we don't know what happens per se afterwards, but when we come to an understanding of that, then we also come to understand the depths of love, the
Mm.
depths of gratitude, the depths of connection, the meaning of life, right? I mean, all of those things are found in the emptiness of that. It
Mm.
is truly bringing together the knife edge of here and not here, love and, fear. And
Mm.
so it just, which knife edge are you going to play on? And I think that, anyway, that's kind of how I see it.
Yeah. It's very interesting as we take a look. We're moving through duality. Again, we're in October where the leaves are falling, winter is coming, right? So, there is this are we going to, deepen our DNA, at least in the northern hemisphere anyway, is, will we survive the winter?
Hmm. Right. Right.
I, you know, I don't see this as I can't remember what you called it now, Natalie, but I look at this as more so I'm more of a dare taker.
Mm.
Like I'm the first guy you want to offer me a dare. So, that game. So first of all, for me, life is a game because life has a beginning and an end, and it has rules, and it has boundaries, right? Just like all games. And so, when I look at this trait 28 of the game player, and then the subsequent bullet points here, like as a leader, I've been working a lot with leaders lately, and so this comes out of the survival instinct, right? So this is the oldest intelligence on the planet,
Mm.
right? It's like super smart, and it knows what it's talking about. It's seen a thing or two, and as a leader, especially today, like, and I've already kind of talked about this and a little bit in some other forums, but like right now, we're living in an era where all conventional wisdom, all these things that we know, that we went to school for, and we're trained on, and that have worked for years and years, have gone off the table.
Mm.
And so now what happens is, so all the people in organizations, and it doesn't have to be just business, it could be anything else, but we look to the leaders and we're like, okay, now what? And so the leader that possesses this and is aware of it and is listening to it, right? Because this is intuition. And and intuition operates off of the circumstances to which it's presented. Being able to dig deep and look within, ignoring everything else that's out there, you know, that whole conventional stuff off the table business, to like understand for you as a leader or you and your team to know what struggle, which you can see that's coming, is going to be purposeful or not for you and your organization. I think that that's valuable wisdom, valuable insight, especially for right now. And then, you know, being able to confront the fear, because goodness gracious, do we have an abundance of fear in the world right now?
Yeah.
Founded or unfounded, it's there, right? But to have that person who can stand up and say, you know what? My intuition just says, this was fantastic. I'm great. It's just us now. Let's get centered. This is what my intuition says. Get in the boat, get in the car, fasten your seatbelt, and here we go.
Yep. And take that risk.
You get a mic drop today, Rob.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
You earned it from jail. You earned it from jail. Something about that little cell is really doing it for you, man. Like that.
Good.
Really, really powerful what you just said, Rob.
Yeah.
Really powerful. Because, the challenge is life. And we've definitely in 2020, we've been challenged, and what has been very present, especially this year, right, with the virus and everything else, right, is the fear of death. It may be even the fear of the and then everything got shut down, and it can be the fear of the business's death.
Yeah.
Right. So what really it brings us back to also, what Chris was pointing to, what really has purpose, what really has meaning, what really is worth fighting for. Where can I take that risk? Right? Where can I step into something new, in order to survive? Yeah, Chris.
Yeah, I'm looking at Anna Aji, who's one of our foundation students, and she says, I have this trait in the full strength that it is for me about finding meaning so I don't die without having a sense of purpose. And that just really captures it. And it's individual, right? It works in a pulse. It's like, you don't know what your purpose is. It's a game on some level. And this goes back to what Rob was saying. It's sort of like, okay, something needs to mutate here. Something needs to change here. Something needs to go in a different direction. We don't know what that is. Don't know what that is. It's a game. It's a game. Oh, there it is. Let's go. Let's move. And and that is huge.
Yeah. And so, by the way, really quickly too, this is selfish. I want to put this out there. Like, for so long, the idea of intuition and a leader having intuition, and then first of all, granting the fact that they do, communicating it, letting someone else know, and then sharing it with the team, that has been looked at as like metaphysical and woo-woo. And what I'm here to say, folks, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, is that it's normal business language today.
Yes.
Because convention's off the table.
Exactly.
Amen.
Exactly.
Leaders, let that 28 shine, please.
Yeah. There's I'll have to look and see if he has it, but the guy that I coached for TEDx, not this past year because we didn't have it, but he now has a podcast called The Business of Intuition. And so that was what his talk was about, was intuition. And it was really fun to help him develop that talk. And that's it. Like, he works with business leaders and helps them around intuition. So, yeah.
And is that also the subline of the transistorizes, the power and influence? Is
the transitoriness of power and influence means that it comes and it goes, right? It's there, it's not there, right? It's transitory. So power and influence, are there, right? And then they go away. And it's kind of like, if we take a look at this risk taking, it can be an adrenaline rush, right? it's like nothing has purpose or meaning, but you jump out of a plane and all of a sudden you have this adrenaline rush, right? And there's that the kind of the power and influence kind of adrenaline rush as well, that's there, but it doesn't last. So you may, here's where it shows up, like you were talking about, Natalie, on the negative side, is that you can get addicted to that rush, and it's transitory. It's not there, it's not there, it's not there, it's there. It's individual.
Yep. Right.
And so you may take unfounded risks because you're trying to get back to that, that rush, whatever that rush happens to be.
Right. Even in poker, right? You lose all your chip. Like 1 minute you're up and then, you could lose it all. You could go all in and be out. And,
Right. I mean, and that's, if you take a look at how it is with life too, right? Sometimes we take risks and we're all in and then we're out. So it's knowing which risks are, which risks to take and which risks, may not be so good to take as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For sure. And, you were talking about, that rush, that feeling, and we put out several examples. And I just know that, like, if we were to go back to that moment and ask the person, what do you feel right now? They say, I feel alive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Joey's got some great input in the chat as well. He says, I have the 28.5 in uniqueness in conscious and 50.5 in uniqueness in my unconscious. And I'm still figuring out this part of my personality. So I don't have a clear explanation yet. Maybe it applies to my ability to make people appreciate their own uniqueness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could be, and how to take risks with that. Again, there's a lot of other things to look at in your design when it comes to that. But I think that's a really great place to start, Joey. Like, that's a great place to start.
Yeah. And it's also, in a sense, what is, in a sense, your uniqueness too, that you're here to bring out, that you're here to share, that you're here to, be maybe an outer authority in, or that you're here to just, share that energy of what is unique about you with others. Yeah. Thank you, Joey.
Mm-hmm.
So let's continue on and let's take a look at the individual quality that's here. And when we take a look at the gameplay, or when we take a look at the quality 4, remember the quality 4 is about influence, and this is about holding on. So the ability through whatever means to keep one's grip. Right. So here I have somebody, again, taking a risk, climbing up the side of the mountain. Right. And in order to not have to face death, it's really holding on. And so that ability, by whatever means, to keep one's grip. Now, on the elevation side, it's the depth of intuition at its best in struggle, and often of value to others. Right. So intuition at its best. So bringing forth your best, that can also be of great value to others as well. And it's the application of knowledge to exploit opportunities, usually for the greatest good, right? So in a sense, it's taking that risk, it's taking that leap, it's holding on where maybe others have let go, right? That taking advantage of that opportunity, which usually is also for the greater good. Now, remember, we always have two sides of the coin, so we also have the challenge as well. So the challenge is a depth of intuition that is stubbornly selfish in its capacity to hold on. And this is the application of intelligence to hold on exclusively out of self-interest. Right. So here's also, in a sense, where, kind of the negativity where what Natalie was talking about at the beginning can also show up as well. It's like the gambler who's going to keep gambling and keep holding on, right, exclusively out of its own self-interest, right? Or other things which may potentially be fairly negative, that they're stubbornly selfish, holding on exclusively out of their own self-interest as well. So that's the other side.
What when you were reading the elevation, I was like, Rob was just ignited by today's energy. Like, that's
right.
The description, right? And to come back to the challenge side. So just for the audience listening today, elevation sounds more positive usually, and the challenge more negative. But just realize they're both here to bring something, right?
Mhm.
So there's no good nor bad, and the challenge may be eventually your greatest learning. So yes, you might, right, do it out of self-interest, but then on the other side, or when you go through that, so to say, you will come up with the greatest learnings potentially in your life, right? Because it is a challenge. So it may be kind of a quote unquote negative thing in the moment, but what comes out of it, or why you will live it, is potentially something really great.
Yeah.
So it never is a negative in and of itself.
Yeah.
So just
Exactly.
wanted to highlight that because it feels like I bring the negative today, but
I'm so glad you said that, Natalie. I'm so glad you said that, because again, that kind of goes back to like, there's always a learning and there's an opportunity, right? It's a growth opportunity.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're like, shoot, another growth opportunity. But still, it's like, this is also when we start to get into profit potential, is like,
Yeah.
have you applied it? Have you explored it? And yeah, so good. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Well,
Yeah.
it's part of the game, right? Like if you didn't have challenges, this would be boring,
Boring.
Right.
wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
And sometimes there is this need for this stubborn selfishness to realize, that maybe you can let go of the stubborn selfishness, or maybe that stubborn selfishness is really what's needed in that particular situation.
Yeah.
Right. Because, and you may be like, even think about that intelligence to hold on exclusively out of self-interest, but that ultimately becomes like others are challenged by it, but it ultimately is a good thing. Like there's
Right.
lots of different, it actually ultimately serves the whole.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
I think there's lots of different ways, but yeah.
And, just using this picture of the side of the cliff, right? If you're on the side of the cliff holding on, there is a lot of self-interest there to hold on.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exclusively out of self-interest just to survive.
Right.
Right. So, sometimes, this is that holding on, the ability, whatever means, to keep one's grip. So we can look at that in multiple different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, this is again something that none of us have. I'm really curious for you, Natalie. I know I asked this earlier, but I didn't know if there was anything else that you wanted to add about, having the trait on the opposite side, and how that, how the 28 may show up for you, in having that 38. I don't know if you fully answered it or not.
Yeah, I don't know either. So the 38 is the fighter, and I think that the 28 gives reason to fight, right? So the actual reason uh, to enter into a struggle. So I've got the fuel to do it. Kind of, yeah, the motor, the adrenalized pressure. And then the 28 will give me the challenges kind of thing, right? So the actual so it's probably this dance between us, right? That I go like, and then I'm pulled in every now and then. I know that I can also, yeah, the word viciously, I don't know if that's a good word here, but comes up. So vicious, really jump into a fight, and I really don't care what other people think, or if they agree with me or not, right? But if I think we need to stand up for something truly, then it can go very deep. So yeah, it's and then I think the 28 is provoking me instead of I provoking them. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. And it's really interesting. I was just also thinking of the 28 in the OC16 or the large business context as well. Part of the role of the 28 in a larger organization is to take the risk to get a new idea implemented.
Mm,
And if we take a look at individuality, and we take a look at the genetic continuity of individuality, there is a fight, right, on the other side. What Natalie was just talking about, but also this ability to risk, because bringing forth something new
yeah,
is always risky.
yeah.
Just like what Rob was talking about earlier, right? The status quo, the same old, same old. We have to putting that aside and really taking a look at risking to step into what is new. It's interesting that we're moving towards fulfilling purpose in transformation, and this is kind of leading to that, right? Leading to that transformation. But oftentimes we have to hold on. Oftentimes a new idea, a new insight, a new way of doing things, and doesn't necessarily come out overnight. It may look like an overnight success after 20 years of struggle, and 20 years of trying to get it noticed, and 20 years of getting it recognized, right? And then it looks like an overnight success, but it's this holding on, right? This holding on through whatever means to keep one's grips, and the opportunity, exploiting the opportunities, usually for the greater good. So I'm just thinking about, for example, BG5, right? It's been out for a long time, but I think I think the time has come, and we've held on, that this is the time that it's really going to make a difference, really, for the greater good as well. So it is that courage to take the risk, to be able to get it out in a bigger way, in a bigger form, that can have influence and impact the greater good as well. So as an individual and part of the individual stream, it is about taking risks to get what's new out there. Yeah.
Wonderfully said.
So, in taking a look at the celebrity here, we have Bill Gates, and often I can see Bill Gates kind of on both sides of both sides of the coin, because he was one of the co-founders of Microsoft. The life work theme is the unexpected, which I always find interesting. It's kind of, if you take a look at the game player as well, oftentimes in a game you come up against things that are unexpected that you have to overcome, or as a person, you may act in a way that is unexpected. You see a certain thing, you expect a certain thing, and then you're surprised that something else comes out. So you unexpectedly have to take care to care for or take responsibility for something or someone. You become an influential example when you find meaning in the struggle. It's really interesting. I found a whole lot of 28s. I found a whole lot of 28 threes. I found tons of them. And I had a difficulty finding a 28-4. So we have Bill Gates. And again, he's an American business magnate, software developer, a philanthropist, and he's best known as the co-founder of Microsoft Corporation. But he's also come out a lot in the news, with this pandemic and everything else. So I have very mixed feelings about Bill Gates. So it's kind of, I often, see that maybe it's kind of on both sides of these coins of holding on, right? Maybe for the greater good, and exploiting opportunities, usually for the greater good. If we take a look at the computer revolution, what he's up to now, I don't want to say too much, but who knows?
Come on, take a risk.
Maybe on the other
on.
side, right? Exclusively self-interest. I don't know. It's just my own opinion.
Oh God. I'm totally goading you. I'm like poking the bear. I'm like, oh, hey, play the game. It's okay.
It's so funny because with the life theme of the unexpected, we find more often that with life works, when the traits that make up the life work, so the top 4 traits, right, in any way can be also the same kind of life theme, but just a different emphasis. So I know my daughter has the life work of the unexpected. I was like, no way, she's got the 28. She does in her life work, but unconscious. So she has it the other way around and flipped upside down, so to say. But now I'm all of the sudden like thinking, and she has it in the third line quality. So it's so funny. She's actually, kind of opposing me, because the 38 in my design is also in my life work. So she's unconsciously, yeah. So that's just today that it clicked for the first time.
Wow. Yeah.
Simple, that.
Talking about having the opposing trait, right?
Yeah.
That's a dynamic that you experience on a daily basis.
Yeah. Duh.
Wow. Very cool.
Well, he's certainly lived it out. I mean, unexpected. I don't know that he expected that Microsoft would ever be this big. And, he was in his garage doing things that no one had ever done with software before, that, ended up on everyone's computer.
Right. That's pretty unexpected too, right?
But he, I can't imagine the struggles that he had to go through, but he probably just kept sticking with it and sticking with it and sticking with it. And,
and holding on. And now,
now he's a health expert. I'm kidding, everybody. I'm kidding.
I think we also, even in the unexpected is sort of like, and I just love this picture, is that, when you think about like, oh, this person's going to be this like mega rich person, we have these constructs, or maybe I'll speak for myself. Yeah, these constructs like, oh, they're like the beautiful people, like that are all like, whatever, like super stylish and blah blah blah, like they care about, like they're all, we look at the celebrities, right? And you look at his picture and he's just like, hi, like I'm the nerdy guy in school who's now laughing, like as he goes to the bank, like, oh yeah, you guys thought, you're roughing me up for my, lunch money and as a kid, but look who's laughing now, type of unexpected type of thing. I'm being
yeah, exactly. He's like, I'm on your computer.
Yeah, exactly. You cannot get rid of me. So
I store your data.
Yeah.
And your business's data.
Yeah, or just made everything crash.
Right. Anyway. Oops.
Unexpectedly.
Unexpected.
That's the window you can fly out of. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We've experienced an unexpected issue. Do you want to send a report? No. Very much.
Or maybe you'd like to send a donation.
Oh shoot. Anyway.
Maybe you'd like to send a letter of apology for what you said to me in 8th grade.
Oh God.
Exactly.
So anyway,
exactly. So
unexpected.
Yeah. So the unexpected can show up in many different ways. Right. So I think it, again, unexpectedly having to care for or take responsibility for something or someone, and you become an influential example when you find meaning in the struggle. Very cool. And again, ultimately, that's what the 26 is all about. The 28. There we go. That's ultimately what the 28 is all about, is finding that meaning in the struggle, right? Not dying without finding and having that sense of purpose, as was spoken earlier. Beautiful.
Well, he will be remembered.
Yeah, exactly. Well, very cool. Any other comments or anything else? I guess we don't have Facebook, so we won't have comments on Facebook today.
Oh, Khalid is here. Hi, Khalid. How this unexpected will reflect on the next week of elections. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Where is that unexpected, where may that unexpected show up as well? Exactly. Always a very interesting time right before election. All right. Well, again, if you are new to BG5, again, we invite you to get a free report on our website. And in January, our new classes are starting up, so be sure to check us out. Also, if you want to follow along as we go through the BG5 Live, we recommend getting your chart. You can get your chart if you go to the BG5businessinstitute.com and you scroll down. You can get a free chart. You can download it. So you can see, do I have that trait? Do I not have that trait? Is that trait a part of who I am, or is it a trait that influences me? So as we go through each of these traits each week in BG5 Live. So great to have you all here. And we are going to wrap things up, and I would love to hear from each of our panel. What should people be aware of or pay attention to this week with 28 defined, with the game player defined, whether you have it defined or not? What's the environment going to be like? What should we pay attention to?
Yeah.
Chris, Natalie, you want to start, and then we'll go to Chris.
Yeah, well, is it worth a fight or not, right? The struggle, and there is a lot of struggle. I think there's a lot of worth fighting for. So yeah, that's my opinion, but I'm on the fighting side.
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to say something along the lines of, you may be experiencing questions like, is this worth it? Am I really invested in the game? Questions like Joey brought up is like, what is my purpose here? Am I living my purpose? Am I, engaged in that? And so, we all here, of course, would say, yes, of course you are. You can't, I say it's your design does you, not the other way around. So, you're already living your purpose. And the more you come into alignment with your design, the more you will express that purpose in the world. But there's always going to be that little, can I trust it? Is it here? And yeah, that little voice. Exactly. Right. So
yeah, beautifully said.
Just notice that this week, if that's popping for you.
Perfect. And how about for you, Rob?
Natalie and Chris put the icing on the cake. I don't think I have anything to add. It was very beautifully put.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. Yeah, so take a look at, the struggles. Take a look at, does life have meaning? Does life have purpose? Where do you need to hold on? But remember also, the survival instinct is also, especially if you have it undefined, is all about letting go too. So where are you maybe holding on too tightly and not letting go when you should let go? So we'll, continue to explore that and continue to take a look at it. Next week, we will take a look at alertness, and we'll wrap up the survival instinct before we move into transformation. So have a fabulous, fabulous week. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here, and we'll see you all next week. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.